So what am I going to be reporting on today? I'm going to be reviewing in detail York Maze Hallowscream 2019. Hello there guys, my name is Coaster Chall YouTube channel, Doncaster born but built for theme park news, and welcome to a Coaster Chall review. This is the trip review from York Maze Hallowscream 2019. So this is going to be a very overall review. Now before we get started, we do have some shout outs for you from the event. So first of all, 3 YouTube channels, one that we met off screen right at the end just as we were leaving, and 2 that you saw on the vlog. So big shout outs to Tom and Stacey, Pleasure Beach Experience, and also It's a Stacey Thing. So big shout outs to you guys, and also we have a photographic moment. So we got a fan photo. So I've been saying for ages, if you guys see me at the events or at the parks, come and say hi, ask for a photo, it's absolutely fine. And someone actually did that at the event. So a big shout out goes to Emily. There she is with the photo. That's her photographic moment from the event. It was great to meet you, Emily. And like I said, if you do see me at the parks and the event, just come and say hi and ask for a photo if you want one for the show. So big shout outs to Emily and of course Tom and Stacey, Pleasure Beach Experience, and It's a Stacey Thing. And like I said, if you want a shout out in our next video, comment down below and I'll give you your shout out. So there we go. So let's have a look then in detail at the mazes, and then we're going to talk about the overall. In fact, no, we're going to start with the overall atmosphere because I want to go in detail with the mazes and sort of lead down to later. So we're going to start with the roaming characters. Before I say anything, I clap every single roaming character, every actor inside the maze, every actor outside the maze, the DJ, the operatives, the security. Anyone who works for York Maze Hallowscream, I applaud you 1,000,000%. You all did a fantastic job to make the opening night fantastic. You saw by the vlog how amazing it was. Now I'm just bombfounded. It was such a good opening night. It was on the level of last year, but just a little bit better as well. So they've definitely improved from last year, and last year was a very hard year to top in my opinion. Now, talking about the overall atmosphere, you had some great roaming characters. You had this guy with like the puppet. He's usually, well, last year he said he called him Cuddles, and I saw him sort of on the run up into the tent last year, as you saw by last year's vlog. They had some other people that I caught on screen as well. We had the twins. We had like the ringmaster guy. You didn't see him in the vlog, but it was very funny. He got someone to do head, shoulders, knees and toes, which was very, very funny. So I caught it, but I didn't upload it unfortunately. But you know, it was still a funny guy. Big shout out to the guy who played the ringmaster guy. You're so funny. Corny's mum, you know, that was a big thing they introduced with the roaming characters this year. They had Corny last year, Corny the Clown, which was part of the story behind Hallowscream, like the sort of truth and the sort of events behind Hallowscream. Now this year they introduced Corny's mum, and they actually played the pre-show. Actually played a part in the pre-show as well, which I'm going to get onto in a bit. But they had Corny's mum in. As you saw by the start of the vlog, we had a bit of interaction with her. She gave me this like tampon, I think it was. I don't know. I was too confused to find out what it was. But she just gave me something disgusting. It was just amazing. It was just amazing. I put it down straight away, obviously. But you know, it was just brilliant. It was just brilliant. So talking about the pre-show then, obviously you guys will have seen it in the vlog. Corny's mum sort of did an introduction. Obviously last year we know that the talking head was in the pre-show. I don't think I caught it in the vlog last year, but there was the pre-show last year, just like this year, with the talking head, with the projection on the talking statue head. Which is pretty much the same as last year, but the actual pre-show now was better than last year in my opinion because it followed a story. So Corny's mum sort of did an introduction, you know, the statue head, that's my husband, my ex-husband Derek, he's dead, etc, etc. And then he's going to sort of tell you the rules and regulations. So they used the pre-show and they incorporated it into the story a bit more, which I found better than last year in my opinion. I really liked that. So once the pre-show was over, you had Corny's mum climbing on like structures and sort of chasing you out of the pre-show barn with a chainsaw. Oh, it was brilliant. Absolutely fantastic pre-show. The people we were with were absolutely scared out of their mind. It was just a brilliant pre-show. Definitely an improvement from last year, just for the fact that they sort of brought the story more into it. So that's sort of the atmosphere and the whole roaming entertainment. And now we're going to move on to the mazes. The mazes were overall fantastic. And I'm going to be really honest about these reviews. I'm not going to be negative at all, because they were brilliant. I'm going to be constructively criticized. I'm going to deliver some constructive criticism where needed. Because that's what we do on theme park YouTube channels. We deliver the positives and we give constructive criticism on where they could improve with the mazes, etc. So, by the way, the atmosphere and the roaming entertainment, I wouldn't change anything with that. That's fantastic. That can run for a good couple of years now. Just keep the acting quality up. The acting quality overall, in and outside the mazes, just bomb-founded. Absolutely fantastic. 10 out of 10 acting quality. All the actors. I know an actor commented down below saying the twins look younger in the vlog. So, yeah, you and every other actor at York Maze Hallowscream was fantastic. Just brilliant acting quality. So moving on to the mazes, now we're going to start off with the first maze that we did, which is the Flash Pot 2016. And I can safely say now, it is number 2 from about, it was like 6th or something? No, it was like 5th or something after last year, because it was good, but, you know, there was other mazes that were better. This year, it is number 2. It is number 2, hands down. It was a fantastic maze. Definitely an improvement on last year. So basically, what this is your slaughterhouse. This is Leonard Dunnington's Farm of Terror. So you sort of start, so from this point out, warning, there are spoilers. So if you're coming to the event, I would skip forward until the end of the video when I sort of summarise my whole experience without spoiling it. Because for the next sort of, I'd say 10 minutes, I'm going to be sort of, you know, really diving deep into the mazes now. Next 10-15 minutes in that timeline maybe. So, warning, spoiler alert. So let's get started then for those of you who have stayed with the video. So Flash Pot, so you sort of start off as you go through the facade of the entrance. By the way, the entrance to all the mazes, I think 2073 is pretty much the same, and Barnageddon looks about the same. But things like the Singularity, of course, with the new maze, has a new sign. Corny's Cornival, that's pretty much the same as well, but just a little bit extended because they sort of moved it a bit. But I think the main change for entrance wise for the mazes is the Flash Pot. They've literally, because they had like a wooden sign with the logo on last time, right near the entrance. Kind of like Creek Freak Massacre sign at Thorpe Park Fright Nights, which I saw pictures of. Apparently that looks brilliant. So sorry I couldn't be down there for the event this year. I know there's still time, but I don't think I'll be down there this year. So yeah, basically you had this sign with Flash Pot on it last year. This year, that's all gone. Obviously you've got the grey-silver barrier fencing, the temporary fencing as we like to call it. You know, I guess we're in a 10, it's part of the queue line, fair enough. But they've got this like themed entrance front as you're walking into the maze. Now the first scene is actually this pre-show bit. With Mrs. Dunnington's pie shop, and it's sort of telling you about these pies, and then you get sent through, and then you sort of go into like a red lighting scene where actors are chained up and with piggy masks and making, you know, squealing noises, so over the top and so dramatic. As well as that, you've got a strobe scene, you've got a hanging heads. I think you get I think I got splattered like little blood splatters on my ear now and then as well, so very traumatic. The acting quality again in that was fantastic. Just overall a fantastic maze. They had like a hanging bodies scene, so like they had like these like wooden, not really wooden, but like these old ratty sort of sacks, and it's sort of round like a body or a head or something, and they're sort of hanging from the ceiling, and I sort of have to push them away, and you got these like strip curtains thing, these plastic strip curtains, and I was just literally just filing them away. It was fantastic. Out of ratings, now I think on the night I gave it a 7. Today, now I'm thinking about it and sort of processing everything and sort of drumming up an overall conclusion, I'm going to give it a strong 8 out of 10. I think it was one of the strongest mazes that night. You know, it was just fantastic. It was brilliant. So yeah, moving on to the next maze we did. Oh my god, 2073 did not disappoint again. 10 out of 10, the best maze of the night once again this year. What can they do to that maze that's not brilliant already? Because there was some differences. It felt longer. Now, one major difference that I spotted was the first scene, the pre-show. Now, last year we sort of got introduced to this like time machine and this actor playing, I think it was Joseph Clement. I know he's in the backstory, but I think he was playing him in the actor. Now, usually I think last year he would sort of take you on this time machine for about a minute or so, and he sort of land you in the year 2073, and then I think you get attacked, or he sort of look outside and you get attacked, they come in gasping for air and like, you know, nearly dying, I guess. And then you sort of go through into the core maze bit. This year, no stoppage. Literally, it didn't even feel like a pre-show compared to last year. Literally, he just told you to walk straight through. Like, the actor was still gasping for air. So I'm guessing they sort of ran out of time with that. Or they were just behind schedule, so they decided not to do that sort of element this year. Again, that's fair enough. I'm guessing if they've made the maze a bit longer this year, I'm guessing they sort of cut the pre-show out just to sort of cut with the timeline. Again, fairly reasonable. And to be fair, it kind of worked because it sort of gave you a tense expectation of what's to come. And this is where the best maze in the country comes in for me. The scare maze is pretty much set in the cornfield. It's all pretty much set in the cornfield, apart from the pre-show, a few little outdoor bits in a couple of buildings. But it definitely felt longer than last year. I think last year it was around about a 6-7 minute maze. This year it felt like nearly a 10-minute maze. It was fantastic. And this is why it's the best scare maze in the country, for my opinion. Obviously, I haven't done the ones at Scarefest or Alton Towers and things like that, and the Merlin ones, but this is why it's the best in the country for me so far. It uses the core maze to its advantage. It uses the hedges, it sends you into dead ends. Thank God I didn't go through a dead end this year, but the core maze does send you through a dead end sometimes. So you're walking, you know, through the core maze. There may be like a big patch where you sort of have to walk around a big piece of scenery, and there were a couple of moments where you had to walk around a big piece of scenery. There was like a massive truck with like lighting underneath and sort of dripping water later on. A lot more zombie actors this year. Now, one big qualm I had with 2073, I don't think I said it on the vlog last year or the review last year, but one big qualm I had was there wasn't as much zombie actors scaring us last year. This year, lots more zombie actors. They were scattered all over that maze. And it was just an absolutely fantastic maze. Absolutely fantastic. And by the way, can I say, operations on that maze and all the mazes were fantastic, by the way. I know I had the RIP ticket, so I didn't have to wait as long, but you know, I think the queue for Flashpot when I first came in was still on about a 5-minute wait for the normal queue. I think the biggest queue it got in the night, which I saw, was Corny's Corneval, and that looked about a 10-minute queue. But that wasn't too bad. You know, these queues are not bad at all. But with the RIP ticket, I didn't have to wait as long, so I sort of can't judge the queues really. But I can definitely see it's about a 10-minute queue just from the look of the size of the queue. So going back to 2073 then, yeah, so we had more scenery pieces to sort of walk past. We had like an overturned car, we had like a massive trunk kind of vehicle as well at some point, I think, so it's hard to sort of process it. But like I said, lots more zombie actors, lots more effects. I thought that was fantastic. Just the overall atmosphere of the maze was brilliant. We had the Trump Trust Hospital. That was brilliant. You had actors like playing zombies, not just in the ground, but also sort of reaching out outside of windows for fire engines and ambulances. Just a brilliant overall maze. And yeah, I just can't believe how great that was. So out of 10, like I said, I'm going to give it 10 out of 10. best maze I've done so far in the country, and it did not disappoint. It was even better than last year, and last year I gave it a 10 out of 10 because it was that good. So I don't know how it's found its way to be better than last year already, but it's already better than last year, and it's still a 10 out of 10 for me. Let's just not dip the quality now. It's at a 10 out of 10. Let's not make it a 9 or an 8. Let's keep it at a 10 out of 10 because I want to see that maze succeed for a couple more years to come now. Obviously, that was introduced in 2017, so I think in a couple of years it'll come up to its 5th anniversary, which is around the time the Reincarnation of Difference engine went, you know, so I don't know, maybe this maze has only got a couple of years left in it, but I'd like to see it still go out on a strong if it's going to go in a couple of years, so fair enough. Best maze of the night then. Moving on to the first brand new maze for 2019, the Singularity. So the Singularity was fantastic, absolutely brilliant. Now, I'm not going to lie, the start of the maze was a bit like, there wasn't many much scares, but I think it was sort of an anticipation for what was to come. Now, one thing I did think, and to be fair, I went into it with looking at different scenes at the start with the same sort of mentality. You know, I was thinking, oh, the scares are going to come later on. There was a section, though, where I think there could have been at least one major scare. And it was like a minute's worth with no scaring, which I felt was a bit ish. But the theming made up for that completely. Absolutely completely. The best theming in the night by far. We had like, so basically the pre-show of this is you sort of get let into the, I think it's like the Donington Lodge lab or something like that, and this actress, well, it can be an actor, it can be an actress. We had an actress in our group, and basically she sort of tells you to sort of stand on this certain spot, and these like green lasers are pointing up in front of you, then they lower down when they invite you in. And then when I went, because I got split off from my group because you had like 2 queues, so you could go through a wrong queue where you go the long way around, or you can go the other way, which is the shorter way. So I went through the shorter way, and literally the whole room was like a laser, like, light room. It was like a laser light room, where literally there was no like spotlights or any just lighting in general. It was literally just lasers circling around on the walls. And it felt like a laboratory facility from the future. It felt amazing. There was, I'm not going to lie, right? There was screens in there, so there was like not really a projection, but it was like an actual screen with like these it was like a skeleton. There was sort of like doing like these scientific things on the screen. It was very, very clever. I think there was like a circular base where the scares weren't. So again, that was a pretty big no-no, unfortunately. I feel like there could have been at least one actor there. One of the most jump-scaring scenes was the wrecking ball. There was an actor literally stood on a balcony and a wrecking ball coming flying over your head and just missing. So that was pretty cool. That was a good sort of duck under your head moment. I thought that was really good. There was like now in one of the mazes already there's like a big squeeze. The big squeeze is in the flesh pot, I believe, but there's another one in the Singularity that is like a sideward squeeze. That's like if you put the big squeeze, which is like the 2 pillars where it sort of tells you where to go in. It sort of squeezes you in. You sort of have to walk to the end of the thing and sort of try and get out of the squishy pillar. Flip it on its side so it's like vertically, and it does it to the lower part of your body, so you sort of have to walk under some more electronical screen things, which was pretty cool. And then I'm gonna say this is my favourite scene just because it was so smoky. And I said this in my vlog, the smoke room. Now, the old Difference engine had a long smoke tunnel, and it had a chainsaw in. Now, the Singularity had about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes worth of smoke, and you couldn't see anything. It went dark, then it went white, then it went dark, then it went white. I think it was to do with lighting, then how much smoke there is in the room, and I literally couldn't feel anything. And actually the person in front of me said, find the walls, it'll help you. So a big shout out if you're watching the vlog to the person who said that in front of in my group in front of me. So I was feeling around for the walls, just trying to find a wall, and then by the end of the maze I was literally coming out gasping for air, and I had to go out for a couple of minutes, outside for a couple of minutes, just to get some air back. You know, it was I think there was too much smoke. I think that was the whole purpose with the scene, but I feel like there was too much smoke, and I think someone like me who's asthmatic will, you know, sort of won't take well to that. And to be fair, I did better than I thought I would with that scene, because I thought I'd be coming out choking for air. I was just gasping for it. So once I was started out for a couple of minutes, I felt a bit better. And I could continue with the event. It was just too much smoke in that scene for me, but I could see what they did there, and if that was the purpose, then my God, they've done a good job with that. So overall with the Singularity, I'm going to give that, thinking about it now, I'm going to give it a strong 7.5 out of 10. I think that was a really good maze. Better than Difference Engine, I'm going to say that off the bat. I know Stace from Tom and Stace, big shout out if you're watching. I know she said to me, and you sort of heard it in the vlog, and you sort of heard it in their vlog if you've watched it already. You know, they like the Difference Engine. I think Stacey prefers the Difference Engine to Singularity. If you go and watch their vlog, again, make sure you go and watch it. They're brilliant. So I think Stacey sort of preferred the Difference Engine, even though they thought Singularity was a good maze, which is fair enough. You know, some people prefer Difference Engine. Some other people, like myself, prefer Singularity. I prefer it over Difference Engine, just for the fact that last year I said in my vlog that Difference Engine was just very confusing, and I sort of didn't understand it as much. So that was just sort of my thoughts on that. But I can see why people would like the Difference Engine. I just felt it was very confusing with like the 0 and the 1 and the 2 different queues, and it was just joining up together anyway, so you sort of come back to your group anyway, so there's no point in 2 queues, but I guess that's part of the storyline. That's why it was one of the weakest mazes I've done overall, not just in the event, because it was just so confusing, and I didn't know what the story, like, the story was good in the Difference Engine, but I didn't follow it correctly, because, you know, it just sort of got a bit, you know, mishmashy. This year, however, the story was loud and clear, and the scenes were just extreme, absolutely extreme, especially that smoke room, like I said. So yeah, 7.5 for the Singularity. Corny's Corneval. This was a twisted funhouse just waiting to happen. I'm going to say off the bat, I'm going to turn that 8 out of 10 into a 9 out of 10 after thinking about it. It was just like Flashpot and 2073 in the top 3 of mazes this year. I think Singularity just misses out, and Born Again 3D, I've got my own thoughts on that, which I'll explain in a little bit. But Corny's Corneval, reincarnation extended and just ramped up to 10 times more extreme and sinister. It was just fantastic. You had like the mirror maze, and one of the funniest bits about that mirror maze, that first mirror maze scene, was the fact that I was sort of walking through and there was an actor. I couldn't find my way because it was a mirror maze. I always struggle with mirror mazes, right? And then this actor was sort of behind me, and he sort of went like that with that little creepy hand wave, and then sort of pointed the way to go. So I got a bit of assistance from the actors, which is pretty good, and they did it in character, which is even better. So that was a good scene. My God, the slant room was fantastic. That was there in Reincarnation last year. It was pretty much Reincarnation, but just a little bit more longer and sort of a bit more sinister, and definitely more actors in that maze. Definitely more actors, because I felt like last year there was about 9 or 10 actors. This year I felt there was about 15 actors, 15 to 20 actors, which is fantastic. So yeah, the slant room was a good favourite of mine again this year, better than last year because of the extreme nature of the actors in that scene. So, and I think it was more on a slant as well. It was more slanted than last year as well, because it was on a nice smooth diagonal angle last year. But I still felt I could easily get by the actors and sort of round. This year, I feel it was on like more of a slant, so it was harder to I had to literally jump to get to the other side and then past the actor. And the actors were just brilliant. They knew I was trying so hard to try and get over that slant, and they were really trying to block me off. And I think I didn't fell over, but you know, I felt like I was gonna, because the actors were literally just about in my way. So it sort of took a lot to sort of get over that slant. So the actor quality in that scene in particular was brilliant. There was a shrinking scene before that. So before that slant room, there was like a shrinking scene where you sort of go through. It was sort of big at first, then it sort of shrunk down as you walk through, and you sort of had to duck your head down. And there was like a big a big clown right at the end of the corridor, so I thought that was a brilliant touch to the scene. The strobe room. Now, this is my only qualm with Corny's Carnival. There wasn't an actor in that strobe room. Basically, it was like a black and white room. Looked like a black and white spiral painted on the wall. Not like your usual like Smiler hypnosis spiral, but like a checkered spiral. So it's like nice wallpaper design. And usually, and last year there was an actor right in the corner and someone would come and attack you and sort of go back to that corner. This year, there was no actor in that room, so that's my only qualm with that. I feel like one more actor in that room. Like, I remember last year there was like a guy dressed in like a clown baby costume, or like a big baby costume, and I think he was in the strobe room last year, so I feel like maybe they could have put that in the strobe room again this year, because I feel like that strobe room could have had at least an actor, just to make it even more, you know, scary and sinister. But that's my only qualm with this maze. The trommel. Now, the spinning tunnel. I feel like last year it was the tunnel that span. This year, I feel it was the plank that span round and round and round. It's so confusing, that part. Now, one particular scene I liked, I believe it was straight after that spinning tunnel. That spinning tunnel, by the way. My God. If they can get Jules' spinning tunnel to win at Alton Towers to work, then yeah. That would be a good attraction then. Just joking, Jewel. We all know you need work. And then you sort of go through, I think it's straight afterwards, there was a scene where it was like mirrors on the floors and in the ceiling, so it was like you were in a big reflective cube with like lots of green lighting, which is fantastic. There was like a Harley Quinn type actress, there was another actress sort of scaring you at the end of the corridor before you got through. It was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant, and I believe there was a chainsaw. I think I skipped him towards the end, but I believe I heard a chainsaw towards the end, so I just escaped him. So overall with Corny's Carnival, I didn't think they could get better than Reincarnation because it was so good last year, but they went and topped it. Reincarnation was an 8 last year. I'm going to give Corny's Carnival a 9 out of 10. Again, like Fleshpot in 2073, one of the better mazes out there this year. I think now we've sort of reviewed both new additions. Overall, I think both new mazes could stay next year. I think that's fantastic. Moving on to my final maze to review. Now, I gave this 6.5 during the night. I'm going to bump this up to a 7. I think, sort of thinking about it now. But it's still one of the weaker mazes in terms of scares, and that's Barnageddon 3D. Now, of course, if you don't know the story, Barnageddon, introduced in 2010, it was going for a good long period of time. 2018 they introduced Barnageddon 3D, it was great last year. This year, however, I feel like I just didn't have a good time with this maze, unfortunately. In terms of artwork, 3D quality at times, and sort of the sensory experience and sort of, you know, going up and down stairs and with your 3D glasses and stuff like that. It was great. In terms of sensory and artwork, it was one of the better mazes tonight, on the night. But in terms of scares, in my personal opinion, it was one of the weaker mazes, unfortunately. Like, the scares were just like jump scares. There was no like, there was a couple of actors that really got in there. But I don't think it was anything to do with the acting quality. I just feel like the 3D sort of ruins it, in my opinion. The 3D glasses, it's one of those... You ever tried those paper 3D glasses? They're awful to put on because they sort of have to fit your ears specifically. So it's so hard to sort of fit them on right. And I actually took my glasses off a couple of times halfway through because I was just so bored of the 3D. It just didn't look... It looked like just a blurred out version of what you do without the 3D glasses, in my opinion. That's not me being mean, that's just me being honest. I just feel like the 3D quality just wasn't... The 3D quality was good, on the level of last year, but just a little under par in my opinion. And like I said, the scares, it was just one of the weakest in terms of scares, but in terms of artwork, fantastic. I give full praise to the guy who did the artwork inside the maze. It was fantastic. But I just feel like the 3D sort of ruined it this year, in my opinion. Now, some of you out there who was at the event on the opening night, and some of you that were there on the Saturday, you know, you may be thinking differently. That's absolutely fine. But just in my personal opinion, I feel like I had a weak run through. Again, that'll probably change with other people. But in my opinion, I had a weak run through. in terms of scares. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to give this maze 7 out of 10. I feel like the chainsaw at the end was good. That was the best scene about it, you know, apart from the artwork, which is the best scenes in terms of artwork. In terms of scares, the best scene about it was the tunnel at the end, and you sort of had the chainsaw guy, which was pretty cool. So that was the best scene in there in terms of scares, for my opinion. The rest of it is just artwork and jump scares. The jump scares were good, just not wow, like there was in the other mazes in that night. So unfortunately, it's going to have to be a 7 out of 10 for Barnageddon 3D. Still good, overall good, just not on par with the rest of them. So I feel like, unfortunately, if I can sort of suggest one thing to change. Now, 2010, I believe, was the first Hallowscream event. I think they did some stuff in 2009, but I think 2010 was the first. So I think next year will be the 10th anniversary of the event. So if I could suggest anything for the 10th anniversary next year, I would say get rid of Barnageddon 3D. Unfortunately, I think I'd remove that. I think I would go even more extreme. I would put in a blindfold maze. Now, that's the sort of thing I'm looking for here at this event now. You've got a slaughterhouse themed maze, you've got a maze in a cornfield, you've got a fun house, you've got a human-robot hybrid maze, like a futuristic maze. Now you need a blindfold maze. Now, think like, not exactly Wicker Man or Alton Towers theme, but something like a cult theme, or maybe some kind of Western theme, sort of on the lines of Alton Mill Mine Tours, Legend of the Skin Snatch at Alton Towers Scarefest as well. So, something that would fit a blindfold maze, where obviously you'd have the bag on your head, you sort of walk on, you sort of have to hold on to the handrail at all times, and you sort of get jump scared and touched, and one of the more extreme mazes at a scare event. So I feel like that could bump up the extreme quality next year, just to sort of give new life into that maze. Maybe do like Alton Towers do with Terror of the Towers. Don't really remove the Barnageddon element, but you have Barnageddon, you have Barnageddon 3D. Let's build a brand new Barnageddon with a brand new storyline, like Barnageddon Living with the Nightmares. You know, something like that, just like a new storyline for Barnageddon. Just my personal opinion. But I think other people had a bigger and better run through of Barnageddon 3D. So if that is true, then, you know, I don't know what they could change for next year. But as usual, any news updates on Hallowscream 2020, I'll bring it to you here on the channel. So there we go, York Maze Hallowscream 2019. Again, a big shout out to Tom and Stace, pleasure to experience. It's a Stacey thing, and of course Emily, who we saw at the event and had a photo with. That was your magical moment at the beginning of the video. And for now, guys, my name is Coaster Chall. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and click notification bell so you never miss a YouTube video. Keep living the coaster life, and I'll see you guys in the next video very, very soon. Take care. Have an awesome day, my friends.